What if trans folk took over the government? I motion that we stop donating billions of taxpayer dollars to Israel and start actually paying our teachers instead. Now the thing that they don't want you to know, okay, really important thing here is that trans women, furries, and programmers, the Venn diagram is, it's a pretty tight Venn diagram, okay? And to say that furries and trans femmes have a lot of power over the internet, you don't realize it, but you guys absolutely have the power to bring down a large portion of the internet and all of the services that run on it. So, you have more power than you think. Conservatives don't want you to know that, but you have more power than you think. This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. And today we're going to be returning once again to me IRLGBT because we all need it. Let's take a break from all the news. Let's have some funny memes instead, because we all need it. Very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention that, as always, YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. So if that's something that interests you, please do consider joining, as it really massively helps support the channel. I'm also looking at possibly adding some more Patreon benefits in the future. I haven't got anything concrete yet, but if you guys have any ideas of things that you would like to see, do let me know and we can have a look at that. But other than that, let's get straight into the subreddit, shall we? Married cis heterosexuals. I used to get to have fun, then I had to get married. Queer folks. This is my wife. She is a goddess. I will make war against the kings of mortal men for her. Yeah, I don't understand this heteronormative, like, oh, I hate my wife thing. I've just never understood it. I've never once understood it. Like, I know not all cis het people are like that, you know? There are plenty of people out there that have married people that they love and have stayed married because they love those people, right? My family included in that. My family is wonderful and my parents love each other very much. Love that fact. But you see it so much, you know? There's an entire genre of boomer humor built around these kinds of jokes, and I don't get it. Like, when I hear these jokes and then I think about the fact that I'm in a relationship with someone that I love and want to marry one day because I love him so much, that feels so freeing to me, you know? When you compare that to the people that act like they had to get married just purely because they needed to get married and not because they wanted to spend their lives with someone. It's wild to me, you know? Being a trans woman is like, if you ever turn off your customer service voice, you die. This post isn't about voice training. Yeah. Well, they can't all be happy, fun posts, can they? And unfortunately, that's the world we live in. As trans people, why is it we are always hearing, you have to understand, I'm grieving, and never, it must be so hard to have many people tell you they're grieving you when you finally feel alive? I always have this bizarre cognitive dissonance because I'm inviting people to celebrate my rebirth, but they're telling me it's awake. I've never understood this either, right? I get that people don't understand what being trans is or is about, right? People are very uneducated when it comes to that subject, even people that are trying to be accepting, right? But being trans doesn't mean that the person you used to be is gone, okay? You're still the same person, right? And for all of the people that loved who you were before you were trans, you're not a different person. You're just going by a different name and choosing to be called something else and probably choosing to dress a bit differently. But you're not a new person. You're still you. You're just a more comfortable version of you, right? And people don't really seem to comprehend that. People seem to be stuck in this idea they had of you, or they're so weirdly attached to just a name that they gave you, when at the end of the day, it's nothing more than a name. And people who aren't trans change their names all the time for a variety of reasons. But there's nothing sad about coming out as trans. There's nothing sad about transitioning. There's nothing sad about becoming who you were meant to be and becoming the most comfortable and happy and enthusiastic person that you could be, because that's the best version of you. And that's a great thing, and we should be celebrating that. And I just will never never understand the people that make it about themselves when their child comes out of as trans, right? That make it about them grieving or being upset that, oh, I'm not gonna have a daughter anymore, or I liked that name, or any of those things. It's like, it's not about you though. And those things really aren't that important in the grand scheme of things. If you want your child or family member or friend to be happy, you should be happy that they're finally going down the avenue, finally doing something that makes them happy. That should be enough. If you love someone, knowing that someone is doing something that makes them happy should be enough. Bottoming is just tanking IRL, to be honest. Wiggles ass. I'm pulling aggro. Yeah, that's... They're right, you know? When they write, and they write. Yeah? Okay then. If you're a guitar lesbian, I cannot emphasize enough how effective it is to give girls your pics. Flirting with a cutie, hand her a pic. She'll look at it and be like, wow. And then you can say, you can have it. And you watch her melt and say, really? I think this would probably work on men as well. If you're a guitar gay, especially if, you know, you're more top and you've got a little twink, you got a little bottom twink. I think this would work in exactly the same way if you've got a little twink and you're just like, you can keep it. I think it would have the same effect. I really do. This is something that I would have tried, but never could have tried on Leo, because Leo is also a musician and also plays the guitar. And if anything, is a more successful musician than me because he does musical theater. So, you know, just an opportunity that I missed out on because I dated a musician. I said dated like we're not still dating, because I am dating a musician. Being trans can be really hard sometimes. What do you think, Shin Godzilla? I guess you're right. Change is hard. Even changing for the better. Grrr. I have no idea what Godzilla sounds like. I just made noises. Man, we love trans ally Godzilla. It's rare that I request memes for videos. The last time I requested a meme for a video was a long time ago now. It's posted on my subreddit, but it was trans ally Gandalf saying, "You shall pass," and someone posted it on my subreddit, and I think that was funny. I would love to see a trans ally Godzilla meme. I don't know what you'd put. I don't know what it would say or do or what it would look like. I think that would be funny. There's a Blue the Nerd subreddit. If you want to make that, please do. It would be funny. You don't have to. No one has to. I'm not going to make you, but I am curious as to what you guys would create. Oh, I have a community tab. You can post stuff on the channel. Do that. Post it to the community tab on my YouTube channel, and I'll know that you've made it this far in the video. Why is my gender behind a fucking paywall? Yeah? Yeah, it is. That's the world we live in. Me and Leo had an entire scenario that it was actually kind of fucked up. So in the UK, you can get trans healthcare on the NHS, right? So you can do, you know, HRT and things like that, and it'd be paid for by the NHS, which is great. The waiting list is like 8 years at least. So that part's not so great. Leo went through Right to Choose and went through a private company where the NHS still funds it, but the waiting lines are significantly lower because it's going through a private company that's just paid by the NHS to do it, right? This feature is amazing for many things, right? You can do it with trans healthcare. You can do it with, it's what I went through with ADHD to get access to, you know, ADHD meds and my ADHD diagnosis. You can do it with autism, loads of things where the NHS is so overloaded that these waiting times are insane, right? Really amazing thing that you can do. Leo was on testosterone for like a year, and then we moved city, and we moved quite far away to where we used to live. We moved to a county that just doesn't allow shared care for trans people, just in general. So basically, if you already lived there and were already on shared care, you could continue shared care. However, because Leo didn't live there, even though he was on shared care for a year, was taking testosterone for a year, when we moved there, they went, we're not approving the shared care for this because it's a new case there, right? So basically, they forced Leo to stop taking tea after a year of taking tea. Hey! Hey, you listening? I'm talking about important issues here. The heck? All in all, I think Debussy would be surprised by how often people in 2022 listen to Claire de Lune, and also by what his name means now. Hell yeah, dude. Getting that Debussy. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna leave that one there. Someone said, your parents headcanon you as cis and straight, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. God, I hadn't thought about that before. But yeah, in cases where you don't have the most supportive parents, yeah, that is a way of looking at it. Wow. LGBT sausage, lemon, garlic, basil, and tomato. Hell yeah, that's me. This sausage is me. If I was a sausage, this would be the sausage. That does sound like a good sausage though. I don't eat meat, so I couldn't eat it. If they had a veggie version, same like ingredients, just no pork, just, fake meat. Lemon, garlic, basil, and tomato sausage. Oh, that sounds great. Throw that on a barbecue. Oh, hell yeah. Give me them LGBT sausages. That's gonna be taken out of context, isn't it? I don't mean I don't care, but it's going to be, isn't it? I'm never doing this again. That's what they all say. Okay, but like, Pyrocynical looks. This guy. Okay, I don't watch Pyrocynical. I don't really know anything about Pyrocynical other than the fact that he's called Pyrocynical. I don't even know what videos he does. Does he live stream? Probably. Most people do. But I do know that he makes a very hot woman. That's what I've learned today. That's it. That's all I have to say on the matter. Never doing this again. I will believe that when I see it. As a non-binary person, but as a very mask-presenting non-binary person, something that I wish that I had the ability to do is to be able to change my form in a non-permanent manner, right? So there's a lot of styles and looks that I like that in my current form couldn't pull off, right? And I really like having a beard. I think my beard looks really cool. I want to grow it out even more because I want to put braids and like beads and stuff in there. I'm leaning into that Viking look, But I do wish that I just had that D&D changeling ability to just completely change my appearance for a day. Beard gone, hair different color, different length, different style, all of that. Body shape different, look like a completely different person, wear very feminine clothes. Look, but then just revert back to who I am the next day, The problem with beards is they take a long time to grow, and I have potato head. So if I get rid of the beard, I will be stuck with potato head for the next at least couple months, and I don't want to go through that, and I don't want to lose the beard. So if someone invents the technology one day, great. Right now, unfortunately, I am stuck with the human ability to not change my form in a temporary manner, and that's sad when you think about it. That's sad. Which dad should walk me down the aisle? Hey, so I'm getting married this summer, 2nd of June, and I have no idea who will walk me down the aisle. For context, my bio parents had me young and gave me up, and I was adopted by my dads, but then they divorced and married their partners, both men. So technically I have 5 dads, and I'm so stuck. This is the way. This is the way. I actually have a better proposition though, okay? Get your partner's dad in on it too. So you've got your dad, your father-in-law, right? That makes 6. An even 6, right? Coffin dance. You sit on like a, like a little boat. You get a little canoe. You have resting on their shoulders. They coffin dance their way down the down the aisle. What a show. What a show. Then you have them load you up on a little slide, and they put you down and it slides you the last way down next to your bride. Like one of those bowling alley like assisting slides. You need to be carried like a king. Maybe they carry you on a litter, which is what this is, but I was a transgender. No, you weren't. You were just questioning your identity, and then you decided that wasn't for you. That's a fucking healthy thing to do. Fuck off. Questioning is healthy, common, normal. Questioning isn't an excuse to be transphobic towards often young individuals. I once thought I was asexual, and it turned out I actually wasn't ready to have sex before I had transitioned to a point where I was more comfortable with my body. And in that time, the asexual community welcomed me, supported me, helped me feel good about who I was, protected me from the harm I would have done to myself if I had pushed myself to have sex. They made a huge difference. if I see an opportunity to support asexual organizations, I do so not just because it's good, but also because they were there for me in a difficult part of my life without judgment. I owe them for that. If you at one point identified as transgender or questioned your gender identity, maybe you too sought a home in the wrong place because you were struggling with something else. And it is very likely that the people in that home, the transgender community, believed you and welcomed you and listened to you. And then when it turns out that you were searching for the wrong thing, you don't just leave the community behind you, but you turn around and shit on them? Shame on you. What a shitty thing to do. Yeah, I couldn't really put it better myself, but there's a lot to talk about on the subject, and a lot to talk about that I don't necessarily have time to talk about in this video. But a couple of the things are, on the subject of the first part, questioning is so healthy, right? If you are questioning yourself and aren't sure whether you might be transgender, agender, non-binary, and you're exploring that, and at the end of it you decide, no, I'm none of those things. I am in fact cis. I have discovered that I am cisgender, and that's the way I feel most comfortable, right? Great. That's actually genuinely an amazing thing, that you were open to explore those things, and you've learned enough about yourself that you understand who you are, right? You probably understand who you are so much better than people that don't explore those things, you know, whether they're too scared to explore those things, or, you know, they live in a community that suppresses those things, or just don't realize that that's something that they could explore, right? Someone that has explored those things learns so much. And even if, right, teenagers are exploring these things because it's trendy, you know, as they used the term transgender, I don't care. Quite frankly, if it's trendy and that means more people are exploring it, that's great. That's a healthy thing to do, because at the end of the day, whether it's trendy or not, if someone discovers that they aren't trans, that they don't feel comfortable identifying as, you know, a gender that they weren't born as, you know, they discovered that they are cisgender, that's something that they've discovered. They're not going to permanently be trans because they explored it in their teen years because it's trendy. They're gonna learn a lot about themselves. Like, conservatives love using this demographic of like, trans people who de-transed, and how, you know, there's so many children are de-transing. And first of all, like, it's just an insanely small part of trans people are actually de-transing. And a lot of the people that do, you know, reverse the transition or go back to identifying as their assigned gender at birth, right? A huge portion of those people are doing so due to societal reasons or as an interim before they can fully go through with things, right? But that aside, I think the number should be bigger. And I don't mean that in the sense that I think more trans people should go back to being cis. I think more cis people should explore it. I think that more people should be allowed to explore things without this stigma of having to be trans or having to be cis. I think more people should just be allowed to explore things and to find out who they are, and to then discover that they are cis and identify as cis without that being used as a demographic by hateful people to say, oh, look how many people are de-transing, because they explored who they were. They wanted to discover more things about themselves, which is a really healthy and good thing to do that more people should be doing. I've talked too long now. This is getting to be a long video, but that's just something I feel so fucking strongly about. Google Maps says it's gonna take like 2 hours to walk 5 miles. Not at my pace. Not at my gay pace. And then there's me flying past you on my one wheel, going so fast and then getting speed wobble because I'm going too fast and just eating the pavement. But then I get up and carry on because I wear wrist braces and a helmet, because when I ride a single wheel, I am not a lunatic who is like, if I get injured, I get injured. No, I take safety seriously. I don't know where this joke was going. I just wanted to joke about the fact that I ride a one wheel, and that's probably like the fruitiest thing I do, I think. Maybe. I don't know. One wheels are fun though. They're really fun. All clothing is unisex if you stop being a little bitch about it. Agree. Fully agree. The only thing holding me back from wearing more women's clothes at the end of the day is usually just that they don't fit. That's usually it. There are so many like women's shirts and stuff that I see, especially in like alt shops. There's a shop called Blue Banana in the UK. I don't know if it's in other countries. It's called Blue Banana in the UK. They're a very like alt punky goth, like that kind of vibe, and they have some really cool shirts for women, and they are all tiny and I just could never fit into them. And if I did, it would not be a pretty sight. And it makes me really sad because I want to wear them. I wish they had bigger sizes. It's the only thing holding me back because I am 6 foot and fat, right? So I don't fit into a lot of women's clothes. I'm progressive because I don't care what goes on in your bedroom. I don't stop being gay when I leave my bedroom. I've noticed that this is a thing, right? A trend with straight people that don't understand gay people, right? Is that when a straight person talks about being straight, they're not just talking about sex, right? Sex is a factor, but they're talking about spending time with their partner, going on dates with their partner, being in public with their partner, potentially getting married, introducing their partner to their families, potentially starting families. They're talking about so many things that go into sharing your life with somebody, right? And all of these things apply to LGBT relationships. But when a gay person or a bi person or pan person in a gay relationship talks about being gay, they will only let you talk about the sexual side of being gay, right? Straight people will only let you talk about the sexual side. And when you talk about, you know, the fact that we should be more open about sexuality and, you know, relationships with people that aren't just heteronormative relationships, they're like, oh, why are you trying to talk to kids about sex? And it's like, I'm trying to talk to kids about an entire life that they can lead that isn't just boxed in by the societal norms of what a relationship is. Sex is a part of that, but it isn't even close to being the majority of that, even remotely. And that's where I'm going to end the video, because I think that's a pretty good place to end it. All of these things, being gay, being queer, being anything, being straight, all of it is great. It's wonderful. And learning about those things, exploring those things, and learning more about yourself is incredible. And it's an amazing thing to do. And more people should do it. And with that, if you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below. Or equally, you can click on that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. But a huge, massive special thank you to all of the wonderful YouTube members and patrons that do support me. All of your names are up on screen right now. It genuinely helps so much, and it genuinely means so much. So thank you to everybody that does. And if you would like to support me, then YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. So if that's something that interests you, please do consider joining, as it genuinely really helps support the channel. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.